Summer is almost over, and although that means we'll be saying goodbye to those coaster rides in the sun here in the UK, we will soon once again be saying hello to my personal favourite time of year at theme parks, spooky season. Halloween is creeping up on us faster than a skin snatcher in the Altonville mines, so today we're going to be looking at the possibilities of what we could expect at this year's Scarefest event at the Alton Towers resort. But first, before we get on into the video, if you do enjoy watching, then please hit that like button to let me know, and if you are new around here, then please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing, because we make plenty of theme park and adventure videos here, which you don't want to miss. So to start off with, and it does need to be said, that they need something new at this year's Scarefest event. For the past few years now, they've had the same returning scare mazes, and it's not even like they change them up. They don't change the story, they don't change the layout, so it's literally at the point now where I know what to expect and I know what's going to be coming around the corner. And that's obviously the last thing that you want from a scare maze. Last year, Alton Towers introduced us to the Invitation, which was a scare experience rather than a scare maze, and it's safe to say it wasn't the best received addition to the event. It just wasn't very scary, and then once you'd done it, that was it. It was one of those experiences where you could only really do it once. So if they do bring back the Invitation this year, I just think it'll be a really bad idea, and I'm really hoping that they don't. What they could do is they could bring back the same kind of experience, but change the story so you get something a bit different. But overall, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to get rid of the whole experience altogether. So my first prediction for this year's Scarefest is that they're going to get rid of the Invitation. That's just my personal opinion though. You might have loved the Invitation, and if you did, then let me know down in the comments below. But for me, I just didn't rate it all that much. So next, let's talk about the current mazes at Alton Towers Scarefest, and that is the Altonville Mine Tours, the Darkest Depths, and the Attic. Now I love that there's a maze inside the towers themselves. It really gives it a genuine spooky feel as you walk through. But the Attic has been going for so many years now, and I feel like they just need to tweak the story a little bit. Do something new. Now, do I think the Attic is going to be returning for this year's Scarefest? I do, but I'm really hoping that they change the story up a little bit, maybe change some of the scenes, just give something a little bit different for the returning guests. And the same goes for the Darkest Depths. Now, this is a family-friendly scare maze, which has been around for a few years now, and it has fantastic theming inside there, and it's actually a really good maze, and it is quite scary to say it is a family-friendly scare maze. But again, because it's been around for a few years and they've not really changed anything, you kind of know what to expect, you know what's going to be coming up in front of you if you have been to the event before. So again, just like with the Attic, they need to change up some of those scenes, do something a little bit different for returning guests. Now, the maze that I think will be going at this year's Scarefest is the Altonville Mine Tours. I just think that this one has really run its course now, and if there's any that need replacing, it's this one. Don't get me wrong, it's probably one of the best mazes that they have at the event, but if there's any that I believe could be on the chopping block this year, it would be this one. Having said that though, it is possible that Alton Towers could be bringing back these 3 scare mazes this year as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm really hoping that if they do bring back these 3 scare mazes, they introduce a new one as well, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the video. But before we get on into that, let's talk about scare zones. Now, scare zones are something that Alton Towers don't really do at Scarefest, but there's so many areas that would be perfect for one. The Haunted Hollow, for example. Put some scare actors in there and make it a free walkthrough experience. Alton Towers have done a free experience like this previously, which was zombie themed. It was about 10 years ago, I remember doing it. I forgot the name of it, but I remember it being really, really good. They could easily do something like this in the Haunted Hollow. And the Gloomy Wood, which is the home to the Curse at Alton Manor, is another area which would be perfect for scare actors to roam around in. Now, they already have actors outside the Curse at Alton Manor all year round, but during Scarefest it would be great to have even more actors in there and make it a little bit more spooky. In terms of entertainment for kids, another prediction is that Trick or Treat Town will return this year. I don't think anything needs to change with this. This is a great attraction for kids, which started in 2021, and I can definitely see it coming back this year, as there's no need to get rid of it. Then in terms of entertainment, I can imagine we'll see similar shows that we saw last year on the main stage on the lawn. Most of it is heavily aimed at children, which is fair enough. Obviously it would be nice to see some more entertainment for adults too, but I think the entertainment on offer is still great. So I can imagine it will be similar, if not the same this year. And of course, the Alton ancestors will be making a return for sure. Now over in Forbidden Valley, this is where I think we're going to be getting the most action at this year's Scarefest. The marketing of new Nemesis has been incredible, and I really feel like they're going to push the story during Scarefest before closing for the season. The track is nearly complete now, all inversions have been put in place, and I think during Scarefest we may possibly have a scare zone featuring the Phalanx. Last year on the last day of the season during the fireworks events, there was a lot of activity going on in Forbidden Valley to do with Nemesis because that was the last day that Nemesis was operating. And a year on since all that activity happened, I think it's very likely that we'll see something very similar at the end of this season too. Especially seeing as the next time the park opens for the 2024 season, Nemesis will be open too. So they're really going to want to drive that story before the park closes for the 2023 season. I think it's possible that we could see a Phalanx scare maze this year. That would be really cool to see, but the question is, where would this maze go? Along with that, there's also Subterra, which features Phalanx actors. So maybe they could add additional actors in Subterra, making it a more scare experience possibly. There's honestly so many different possibilities that they could do with the Nemesis story, and that's why my main prediction is that they'll be bringing a Phalanx, Nemesis, Scare Zone, Scare Maze, Scare experience to this year's event. They did the same thing back with the Wicker Man before it opened, and the same with the Smiler 2, which was personally my favourite Scare Maze Alton Towers has ever done. So I'm really hoping that they do this with Nemesis 2. And in all honesty, if they don't do it, it would be a missed opportunity, so fingers crossed it does happen. It's also worth noting that a lot of money has been spent at Alton Towers recently with the Curse at Alton Manor, the Nemesis retrack and Project Horizon. So they're probably going to have to cut back on a few things this year, including new additions for Scarefest. So although I do and hope there will be something new at this year's Scarefest event, I don't think it'll be anything too major. So these are just some of my predictions of what we may expect at Alton Towers Scarefest in 2023. Now some of these predictions may happen, maybe we'll just be getting the same scare mazes that we've had in recent years, but I'm sure we'll find out as we head closer to the event. So to finish off with, I would love to know, what do you think is going to be happening at this year's Scarefest events? And if you've been in recent years, what's your favourite part of the event? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.